Hello again. It's Maggie. I'm going to do another tapping session, and this one's going to be on the overwhelm and the raw grief that you can feel at times. My sister had died in November, and as much as I'm moving ahead with the tapping, I do have moments when I was in a bookstore, for example, the other day, and I call it the wave of grief came over me. And you say to yourself, okay, go with it, just like when the wave grabs you in the ocean. Let it just be that moment of let go, let go, let go. Okay? Let go. And then the best thing I'll give you at the end of this tapping session, too. Okay, even though I feel so overwhelmed at B's death, I cannot do my work, I cannot move ahead. I am so upset and concerned. I deeply, completely, I love and accept my emotions anyway. So even though I am so overwhelmed at this fact of death happening to a young person of us, I deeply, completely, I accept myself and I accept my feelings. So even though I'm just overwhelmed, I feel helpless in the face of what's going on here. This raw grief just hurts me in my heart, hurts me in other places I just never even imagined, because it brings up all other losses in life. I accept myself and my feelings. So top of head, this sense of overwhelm, I am helpless. Eyebrows, one hand or both. I am helpless, totally helpless before death. Side of the eye. This raw grief has knocked me to the ground again. This raw grief knocked me to the ground again. Under the eye. Like ocean waves, it just came and grabbed me. This sense of overwhelm, this sense of not knowing what to do, this sense of still disbelief. Under the nose. This sense of overwhelm. I'm helpless. What can I do? What can I do? Under the lips. This sense of overwhelm, this terrible sense of overwhelm. What can I do? How can I change to make this better? Collarbone, collarbone, collarbone. And again, you can do both hands if you want to, or one. This sense of grief, and then under the arms, about 3-4 inches down, or give yourself a little hug, because you need a hug right now. Be compassionate with yourself and realize, I need a hug. I need a hug. I'm so upset about this death. I'm so upset about losing this friend. I'm so upset about losing this daughter. I am so upset about losing a coworker, someone who meant a lot to me. Rib cage, bottom of the rib cage. This overwhelm, this sense of overwhelm. And we're going to continue on. We'll do our wrists together, wrists together, wrists together, and then hands to the top of the head. I feel so overwhelmed. I feel so overwhelmed. I do not know how this happened. I have a touch of shock still, but still this overwhelmed feeling. I am helpless. I feel helpless. Eyebrow, eyebrow. This sense of overwhelm, this sense of overwhelm, this sense of overwhelm, this sense that a wave has knocked me right down. My feelings are so open. Side of the eye. My feelings are so open. My feelings are so open and raw. This wave of grief, under the nose, this wave of grief. Under the lips, I am overwhelmed right now. I am overwhelmed. Collarbone, collarbone, one or two hands, whichever is easier for you. I am overwhelmed. And then give yourself a hug while tapping the spleen point under the arms, okay? And the rib cage, at the bottom of the rib cage, tap, tap, tap. I'm overwhelmed, but I feel comfort in being with other people. I am am overwhelmed and helpless, but I realize the sense of compassion that I get from other people helps me. Okay? There are several things I'll bring up that may help you too. Okay? Top of head, top of head. When this raw grief comes on, realize this is just very natural. It's part of life. It's part of life. And realize you can handle this. It's like a wave. It's going to come and it's going to go out again. It's going to come, try to knock you down, and then go out again. When you're feeling that helpless, tap a point that seems to calm you down the most. Eyebrow, eyebrow. When you're feeling overwhelmed and helpless, realize, hey, I could send a letter to B. I could sit down right now and think of her intentionally. Send her a letter, talk to her, okay? I could actually sit right now and talk to her right here. And that's the surprising thing, is you're never separated from anyone. So feel that you can sit down and either write her a letter, if that's your way to do it, or sit down and talk to her and say, hey, B, I miss you. This is why I miss you. Collarbone, collarbone, collarbone. But all along, be compassionate with yourself. So give yourself a big hug, just like here with the spleen point. Tap, tap, tap. However, realize that you need care and love and attention. Be with your friends. Realize that B gave you great joy. And that's what you're going to concentrate on. Rib cage, rib cage, rib cage. So one more time, even though I could feel overwhelmed at times, and I could feel helpless, I see there is a future light ahead. I see there's a future light ahead. Ask any friend, ask any relative, ask any neighbor, ask any coworker if they've gone through life without a loss. Realize you are one and the same with everyone else in the world. So when this overwhelm or this helplessness comes on, remember the ocean wave. That ocean wave can knock you for a loop. Meaning, I remember being turned upside down by a wave that I wasn't ready for. So if you want to get ready for the waves, remember you can do a lot ahead of time. And sit, talk to B, write B a letter, gather together with friends, and know that you are all going to help each other. Under the arms, under the arms. Or as I say, yeah, give yourself a big hug. Give yourself a big hug of compassion. So I'm going to end with a big hug for each of you. Much love.